And as you said, I'm here with Randy Pope, who is a global security technologist here at Cisco. Hey, Randy, how's it going?
I'm doing fine, I'm doing fine. Thank you.
Great, well, thank you so much for being here on the broadcast. We talked a little bit about security already. Rob was talking to Rick Miles just a couple of minutes ago, and Rick was telling us about the mesh policy engine that we are basically introducing to customers right now. What does that really mean, like mesh policy engine? Can you explain that to me a little bit more?
Certainly, I certainly can. So Mesh Policy Engine is one of the new features we're bringing to Security Cloud Control. Now what does it give us? It gives us the ability to bring our customers into the hybrid mesh firewall, which we've been talking about a lot, into that ecosystem, regardless of what their vendor is, right? And why is that important? Because we know that lots of customers are multi-vendor, and we need the ability to manage security policy across those devices. So let's give a little background about what Hybrid Mesh Policy Engine is. And what it is the ability for me to create a security policy and drive that security policy across my environment. So I'm expressing my intent regardless of what that vendor may be. So we'll do a quick zoom through here and talk to what it does. So hey, a common use case for our customers is, hey, as a network security engineer, I'm going to bring in a request for my security policy to my engineering staff. I get that request and it says, hey, I need my ERP application to talk to my HR application here in my data center A. Now traditionally, what we would do is we would say, hey, I need to go figure out which firewalls I need to write policy, where do those applications live, how do I make those changes, and where do I need to make those changes? And as you can see, we've got lots of firewalls inside of this environment. We've got our cloud firewalls, we've got our edge firewalls, we've got our zone firewalls. And in that example, our engineers had to say, hey, this part of the HR app lives here in data center A, this ERP portion lives in the cloud, and then you have to go and say, it looks like I need to write security policy to these 3 different devices. Now, that could be error prone, it takes a lot of work, I need to have an understanding of what the environment looks like to actually make that happen. But with Mesh Policy Engine, I go and I say, hey, can you allow the ERP application to talk to the HR application? And then take the network topology, and with that network topology, I can actually drive how the policy should be expressed inside of that environment. So I don't have to figure that out. Mesh Policy Engine does it for me. And since we're multi-vendor, that allows me to bring in other vendors as part of that hybrid mesh firewall, so we can start to deploy that across our environment. All right?
Awesome, thank you, Randy. When is this going to be available to customers?
So, Mesh Policy Engine is coming very soon, so you'll expect to see it in Security Cloud Control relatively soon, like in the next few months.
Because also I've seen a lot of interest in that side of your booth, basically, right? What is resonating most with customers today? Like when you explain this story to them, like what are they telling you?
So what people are really getting excited about is the ability to get into the hybrid mesh firewall simply and easily without having to do all that reconfiguration and trying to figure out how to make it happen. So it allows customers to do it simply, easily, and in a very simple manner.
This morning as well, like I was listening to G2 during the keynote, and he talked about the 3 stages of AI. The second one was about agentic AI ops, right? Can you tell us a little bit more about that? How does that resonate?
Awesome. So, how does agentic ops resonate with our firewall customers? Fabulous, we can certainly talk about that. We've been chewing on AI a lot inside of Cisco, right? The ability for us to manipulate a lot of data, take in a lot of data, and use that data to do things inside of our environment. Now, we've started to think about how can we do that in relation to firewall management. And you can see here a prototype of how we envision using agentic AI to go and do operations inside of our environment. So you can see that, hey, I've got my security environment, I'm in my hybrid mesh firewall environment, and I've got lots of different things that I need to worry about. I need to worry about things like configurations. I need to worry about things like operations. Am I going to have an operational issue? Do I have an outage? Do I have potential shortages, or am I going to run out of capacity? So all of these things I need to think about. And then on top of that, I've got to worry about attacks, am I secure, and those sorts of things. And what agentic ops allows us to do is it allows us to harness the power of AI and the ability to churn all of that data, munge all that data, and think about how it works in our environment, and provide proactive recommendations, and actually provide fixes for things, and let the machine actually fix it for us, right? Because the machine's smart, it knows lots of things, it knows how to make things happen, and how to fix those things. So, for example, we've got some issues here. We can see that, hey, I've got some high priority, low priority stuff. that is a big deal, right? It's sometimes I don't need to know when, I'm sorry, I need to know when something's more important to fix than later, right? So those are the things I need to take care of now. So it's all of those sorts of things, and it's really giving the ability to augment our security operations folks.
Great, I hear that like the machine is basically taking over, right? And it is providing to fix it, it is providing recommendations and so on, while a human is basically looking over that. And that basically helps us to be more agile, to be faster, to prevent rather than being reactive.
So if you don't mind, I'll correct
Sure.
you just a touch. So we don't let the machine take over. We use the power of the machine to help us make better decisions. And as you said, look over and understand our environment more, because we can't process the data that the machine can, but we are most certainly in control, right? And then I think that's the important part. We understand, we're using the machine to tell us what to do, and we're using that to help us make better decisions.
Awesome, well, great. Thank you so much, Randy, for taking us through.
Awesome.
That was really awesome.